the course definitely changed my life. I can't imagine what situation I'd be in with this pandemic, the unemployment, everything that's going on right now with no skills. I'd be completely screwed right now if I hadn't come across your course 3 years ago. So, yeah, much thanks, man.
Hey guys, it's Seth with In Demand Career. I show people how to get jobs in digital marketing with no previous experience or education. And that includes my very special guest today, Ash, who is making over 6 figures in digital marketing and does not have a college degree and actually dropped out of high school. Very intelligent young man who has gone very far, but was actually smart enough to understand that most of the stuff you learned in high school is really not very relevant. But anyway, I want to share his journey with you. It's very inspiring. Thank you for being here, Ash.
Thanks for having me, Seth.
You are welcome. So let's start with where you are today. Can you tell us about your current job, what you're doing, and how much you're making?
Sure. So I work at a company that does, they create different health supplements for humans and pets. Currently, I'm in charge of running their pet brand, which we sell freeze-dried dog food, and we also sell a probiotic specifically for dogs, and we've also got supplements that are going to be coming in the future for cats as well.
And so, and what are you getting paid?
So my base salary is $80,000 a year, and that's on top of commissions that are paid out every month, provided certain metrics are met.
Why don't you walk me back to when you found the course? What was going on in your life? Where were you at when you found the course, and how did you find it?
Sure. So backtracking to 2017, it's been 3 years as of this month. And to be honest, I was in a pretty crappy place in my life. I was just working, dead-end customer service jobs. And even though I had, had the opportunity to work in Hawaii on a cruise line, as a waiter, when I got back home to Chicago, I realized, that wasn't something that I wanted to do. People hear a lot about all the crazy stuff that happens on cruise ships with, being a crew member. And while there is a lot of truth to that, there's a lot of fun. It's also very, soul draining, does not pay well. It's just physically and mentally taxing. And, when I got back to Chicago, I, took another service job and was looking for something else to do. So I ran into a channel called Engineer Truth from my Matt Tran, and he made a video about, just what kind of income YouTube can provide. And I learned that he was promoting, your course, Seth, on digital marketing. And I went through on YouTube, saw a lot of testimonials, and just got to watching them. And the first one, I think it was, I'm not sure if I'm saying his name, but I think it was Kudzai. He was over in the UK, and he was like 19 years old, and got a job in digital marketing with no prior experience. And from there, I just started watching testimonial after testimonial and just seeing like holy crap, like this is real. So I bought in right away, and within the span of a few months, from August, I started in August, and then started my first internship in January of the following year.
You took the course and you did what I suggest you do in the course. Obviously, you generated experience, you followed my instructions, and you got an internship in Chicago. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the internship and what were you getting paid and what were you doing?
Sure. So I got an internship doing what you said. I actually created a cover letter that said, I don't really have much experience, but I'm willing to learn, do whatever it takes. And the founder of the company actually found my application via ZipRecruiter. I ended up getting 2 jobs in ZipRecruiter. Fun fact. But yeah, so he reached out to me personally, and he was very surprised and just amazed that that I reached out like that, and they welcomed me for an interview. I talked to him as well as the director of marketing, and they offered me an internship in which I'd be able to learn primarily SEO and PPC, and from there choose whichever path that I felt more of a that I took more of a liking to, and I of course took more of a liking to PPC. It just felt really cool. Just I looked at your videos, and inside of Google AdWords, as it was back then. Now it's Google Ads. But I took the internship, and and not only was I putting in the time to learn at the agency, but I was also learning on the side. So I would when I would get off work, I would I'd go home and then just spend hours on YouTube and on different digital marketing blogs, and putting in the extra effort to get as close as I can to mastering my craft. And during my time there, I eventually got promoted to be a full on PPC specialist, where they gave me a salary of $41K. And while I was there, I got to work on some pretty nice brands. I got to help manage Everlast, which is a major player in the boxing and sports apparel space. I also got to manage the account for KT Tape, which is another player in the sports space. They make the kinesiology tape you'll see athletes wear all the time. They're the #1 kinesiology tape brand. And I also got to work with a lot of various women's fashion brands, religious supplies, all types of companies, and just managing Google accounts. And at some point in the summer of 2018, I came across an opportunity to then work in the financial publishing space.
So you impressed them. You got hired. You got an internship. You had a stipend. You told me you're not making very much, as I tell people usually in the first job. But then within a few months, they offer you a job making $41K, and you're managing these brands. So let's take us and 41. This is more than you'd made to that point, right? Just to get people clear, like you hadn't made $41K at a job before,
by far. So I actually remember calculating it. So at the time that I got that offer, I had never made more than like 18, 20K in a year. And that's, and that's on like the upper end, and on top of that, I was also like living at my mom's place, literally sleeping on the floor, like no BS. I was sleeping on my mom's floor. And cramped room, just, not able to get anything going in my life. Living in Chicago, 41K does not get you far at all, to be transparent. However, relative to where I just came from a few months ago, that was, life-changing money. And like, I went from, not being able to do anything to actually being able to like, have my own place. Which is something that I hadn't had. Right after I got that offer for 41K, I said, well, this 41K is nice, but I want to like hit that next leg. I just want to get more into my career, just advance. And I just happened to be I wasn't actively looking for another position, but I was just casually browsing and saw, there was this opportunity to be a media buyer for a large financial publishing company, Agora Financial. They're part of the Agora companies. They're like the top player in the financial newsletter space. And when I got contacted by the recruiter after I applied, and he's like, yo, well, how much are you looking for? And I just threw out 50, and it's like, yeah, we can do 50. And, after they sent me back the assessment to fill out, it's just an assessment to, test my skills on Facebook, which at the time was not by any means my specialty. I was almost entirely focused on PPC, on Google and Bing. But I did have, some experience on Facebook, for a couple of clients. So, again, that self-education played a huge role, because even though I wasn't doing Facebook all the time, I was, off on my own, doing all this, research and just seeing, like, what are the best practices, like what really are, Facebook people doing. So, they were just blown away by how, I was just, very, meticulous and, in doing my mock, campaign structure and everything. And then, they saw that, I knew Google, knew Facebook, knew Google Analytics. Also, that was another big thing, knowing Google Analytics for them. And I eventually got recruited into their media buyer bootcamp, which is what they were, hiring for. And, that was, at that point, I got my own, they put me in, housing, paid for it. They flew me out, covered everything, and they were paying me while I was in that training. And during this, boot camp, essentially, they ran us through their entire business model, and the whole 9 yards. And from there, what ended up happening is I got shifted to their sister company, Agora Financial, one of their sister companies, Money Map Press. And that was where I spent the vast majority of my time with Agora. And, from there, so I went from managing, maybe, like, I think the biggest account I had managed was 20K a month at this point. And I went from that to spending millions. So in my time at Agora, I spent almost $10 million in ad spend.
Okay, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Let's walk back a second. Wow. So that's so cool. So first, just so I'm clear, you were working at the agency for how long before you got the Agora opportunity?
I was there for like close to 7 months. Okay. Before Agora.
So that's another thing, guys. So I do get messages about this sometimes, is that you don't have to be at an agency for 2 or 3 years before this becomes viable. Remember, there's recruiters out there. They're desperately trying to find people that know anything. And when they see 6 months experience, 7 months experience, plus all the checking all the boxes of your knowledge, that's what it takes. And I love how you said, Ash, that you weren't some Facebook guru expert. You had just kind of a bare minimum knowledge. And then they flew you to Baltimore and put you up, like helped you pay for your housing and hired you. And then you went from managing 20,000 a month to millions. Yep. So what was that like for you? I mean, what was it like?
It was a crazy time. That was a good, about a year and a half I was with Agora. It was absolutely nuts. And what's funny is almost all of that spend was with their sister company. So basically, Agora Financial trained me and paid me. And then because they had a huge policy problem and got shut down by Facebook and Google, all these networks. So they couldn't accommodate all of us who they just hired. So they sent us to sister companies. And I ended up at their biggest sister company, Money Map Press. And there, I thought I was going to be, mostly on Google and Facebook, but I also ended up getting exposed to native. So not only did I spend on Google and Facebook, but I'm also running up millions of dollars in spend on Yahoo, Gemini, Outbrain, doing all these other native networks. And what's crazy is, I don't want to, derail the conversation, but there's massive demand for advertising on native. Like recruiters cannot find anybody who does native.
Let's talk just to give people, even for myself, because I haven't personally, I know what it is, but you know, and when you say, just so we're on the same page, I mean, Outbrain, native is actually native advertising, guys, is the word is native, meaning like you're a local, you're one of the recognized, you know, like you go to a country and you speak the native language. It's when you're on CNN, right? And you see all the news articles, and then there's all these articles at the bottom that aren't really news articles. They look like news articles, but they're fashioned like news articles. But then you'll see that little disclaimer that says like content provided by Taboola or Outbrain or other things. And it is a very powerful advertising because it doesn't look like advertising. That's the whole point. So this is actually unique. Tell us more about that.
Sure. So in the financial publishing industry, a major source of leads as well as customers comes from native. So, you know, essentially, you know, like you said, you know, a lot of articles on CNN and all these different, you know, publishers, you'll typically see an ad, you click through and you'll have a landing page there or website, which will typically be in the form of some type of article, which is in the advertising space, we typically call it an advertorial. The goal of it is to function as it's essentially to pre-frame the prospect, to frame their mind to be more receptive to the actual product or service for sale. So, that's basically the gist of it. And I spent millions on promoting different products. And one of my favorite achievements is, you know, being able to spend, you know, $40,000-$50,000 a day on Yahoo. And I was promoting this product. It's a startup investing, newsletter with Robert Herjavec from Shark Tank. If you guys out there heard of him, he did a collaboration with a well-known entrepreneur by the name of Neil Patel. It was called the Angels and Entrepreneurs Network. And it was just amazing to be all native in Facebook and Google and pushing, selling that offer. And to see how many people, actually got value from it. There's a lot of scummy things in the financial space, but there's also a lot of good too. And to be able to contribute to the good that comes from the industry, that was just amazing.
That's fantastic, man. So, and you're managing millions of dollars. You're still making in the 50s, right? In terms of salary.
Yeah, at this point, yeah.
Yeah, and you're still just basically a year or two into your career. Now let's what happened next? How did you get from there into your current position?
Yes. So the current company, the initial offer was $75K. I said, well, can you do 80? And, I just really made my case. I just wanted to cross that the 80 threshold. They, came to terms, and that was just huge, got a, higher base salary, and, they're, very transparent and open about, what things are and,
so
feedback and whatnot.
Tell us a little bit about the commission structure and what your overall salary is with commission now. Give people a little more detail, because most people don't have any comprehension of what this kind of means.
Oh, okay. So essentially my base salary is $80K, and then with commission, it does fluctuate because they can change what the actual payout is, like percentage wise, but essentially in the months I've gotten commission, and the only reason I haven't gotten commission every month is because we actually got booted off of Facebook for a few months. So we had to restructure funnels and all that stuff. But, yeah, normally I've gotten anywhere from, like $1,500 to $3,000 a month in commission. So, I should be, getting commission this month too, since we're back on track with Facebook and everything. So, averaging that out, yeah, it should come out to around like close to 100K in overall salary by the end of the year. And then that's also not including, I also have a whole side business like running, affiliate marketing. So I spend my own money to promote other companies' products, which is, that's also, a source of revenue that I'm getting off the ground. So yeah, I mean, it's great overall.
So what you've done to go from no experience working at service jobs, no college degree, no high school degree, to working remotely, secure job, 80K plus 20, 30K. I mean, it's really incredible. Not just financially, man. I'm happy to see you using your brain and doing something that you enjoy, which is a great feeling. So can you like sum up, or just anything you want to share with the people watching? Anything at all that you'd like to share?
Yeah. So, I mean, I know the world's, both figuratively and literally on fire right now, but, there's light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, and for minorities in particular, like there's opportunity out here, guys. It's just, you have to, disconnect from, from all the lies and all the propaganda that we've been fed, that we have to, fit into this, specific mold of, of going to college, going into debt, working a job that, doesn't fulfill us, doesn't pay us what we need to actually live on, and just focus on high income skills. I mean, digital marketing, software engineering, data analysis, sales. You guys have access to the, Google, YouTube. Focus on the high income skills. College is not, not going to college or not having a high school diploma, only having a GED. That's not a death sentence in today's world, where we have access to information at the snap of a finger. So, yeah, man, it's just, you just have to, stay positive and just focus on your work. For anybody that's like on the fence about the digital marketing course, so I get a lot of, messages from people that are like, is this legit? Is this a scam? Like, no, it's very much real. I'm pretty sure, Seth's going to have my, LinkedIn and everything in the description on this video, but I mean, it works, man. Like, you just gotta, put in the effort and, bootstrap your experience. Yeah, get your experience, get your certifications. Put yourself out there. Like, I'm not, for example, I'm a hardcore introvert. I don't like people at all, to be honest. But I don't mind getting on a video and doing this interview just because I just wanted to help other people like me, like people who came from similar situations to myself. That's the only reason I'm doing this. And get your own website, doing video for your resumes, or linking to a website where you have your video for a resume is going to do a lot of good for you.
But you should just tell them to just listen to me, right?
Yeah. Listen to Seth, man. Digital marketing is a real opportunity. And you can't afford to be complacent. That's another thing too. So, there's people out there that, like, sometimes they'll get stuck or like in a rut, and I just want to say, like, you have to put it, always be looking for the next opportunity. And I understand that, like, not everyone is, someone who wants to be an entrepreneur necessarily, but even if you're not an entrepreneurial type, at the very least, never get too comfortable with any one job or any one company. You have to remember at the end of the day, it's about dollars and cents. It's a business relationship at the end of the day. So, and that goes both ways. It's for them and it's also for you. And just don't sell yourself short, man. Just stay, focus and on investing in yourself and, your mindset. I think just having a positive mindset on top of a work ethic is going to take you far. No matter who you are, where you live, man, woman, whatever. Yep.
That's fantastic, Ash. Thanks so much.
Yep.
And I appreciate you being an introvert, but being willing to come on here because as you shared earlier, it is very fulfilling to help, other people.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you. I know this interview will make a big difference for a lot of people. And we'll stay in touch. I look forward to seeing what you do next. And thanks again so much for being here.
No, thank you, Seth. Your course definitely changed my life. I can't imagine what situation I'd be in with this pandemic, the unemployment, everything that's going on right now with no skills. I'd be completely screwed right now if I hadn't come across your course 3 years ago. So, much thanks, man.
You're welcome. You're welcome.